All right, welcome everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you on the Share Success Coaching call. Initially, when Andy asked me to help out, they are out of town right now as they are around the world helping so many people. I was really excited to be able to have this opportunity to come in here and share with you some things that I've learned on my doTERRA journey and to get to do some coaching as well. So I am certified as a life coach as well as a presidential diamond in doTERRA. And this journey to presidential diamond was quite a journey, right? To share my story briefly, it has relevance here because our story is one that required a lot of patience and required a lot of up-leveling in our mindset to be able to achieve new ranks. When we first got started in doTERRA, I was extremely passionate about essential oils. I was really passionate about mental health. And that was my story personally. I was living abroad in another country. And I don't know if I said my name or not. My name is Seantay. But I was living abroad in another country and I was serving people on a church service mission. And I was struggling with a lot of emotional just dissonance. I was experiencing anxiousness and, going up and down and a lot of sadness. And I was really struggling to serve in a very grounded way. And at that time in my life, we were discussing, I was, meeting with counselors and we were discussing other options of medications and things like that. And that whole process was really overwhelming and scary. I was young and I didn't know what I should do. And my friend at the time said, I think the essential oils could help you with what you're dealing with. And I started at that point using just balance, citrus bliss, and serenity, just those 3 oils. And I used those 3 oils for an entire year and a half. And those 3 oils carried me emotionally. Now, since that time, I've learned there are so many other amazing essential oils to support yourself emotionally. And it has been such an honor to be able to use those oils, not only in my life with my family and my kids who've come into my life since then, but also to be able to use the essential oils to support me in growing my business. Because as we grow a business with doTERRA, the oils were balance, citrus bliss, and serenity, those 3 oils. As you're building a business, you will come up with struggles. There will be times when things are emotional, when you feel discouraged or frustrated, whatever the emotion is, disempowered, confused. There's all sorts of emotions, and we have the most incredible gifts of the earth to help us to move through those emotions, to process those emotions in a healthy way so that we can move forward in our business and in our life. So we already have such an incredible gift with that. Now, in my journey, I decided, okay, I love these essential oils. I want to build a business with doTERRA. I'm so excited. I'm going to be diamond in a year. I had such vision and I was so excited. And I was very blessed to be able to work with the Goddards. I met them soon after my time in Asia and started working with them. And they are, as you know, like the mindset ninjas. Like they are just incredible when it comes to helping you with your mindset. And I would go to their house and they would just bust my limiting beliefs and we'd have incredible breakthroughs. And then I'd go back home and I'd be living with my own brain again. And I'd be struggling with my own life and family life and struggles that were going on and challenges. And I needed to know how I could coach myself at home because I couldn't just live at the Goddards all the time and have them helping me crush my limiting beliefs every minute of the day, right? And so there was this balance of being mentored consistently and also learning how when I'm at home and I'm doing my own, business and my own life, that I know how to start doing that self-coaching on myself. Now, to kind of like blaze through the 10 years really quickly, we hit elite, pretty quickly. Our first month we hit elite, and then we stayed elite for almost an entire year. It was about 10 or 11 months that we stayed elite. And remember, I wanted to be diamond in a year. So I was very discouraged. I was frustrated, like, what's going wrong? We're building, we're doing classes, we're talking to people, we're sharing the oils, we're doing everything right. And still we're elite and things haven't been growing. Now, I love the belief pyramid that the Goddards teach. I bet you all are familiar with the belief pyramid, where it teaches that, if you have belief in the product, you can hit elite, right? I had incredible belief in the product. Next is having belief in the company and in the business, right? So we needed to up-level our belief in the business. We decided to up and travel and start to build our business in another country that wasn't currently opened. And I don't recommend that. It was quite foolish on our part. But it was a wonderful experience for me and my husband, being so young and wanting to commit to this business. It was very difficult in that season of our time. And that was the season when we decided, perfect. Sharon just shared the belief levels. So if you're not familiar with the belief levels, please click on that and download it, because this is everything. And we're going to just kind of visit it a little bit here and there in today's call. But it was that time when we were living abroad in another country that doTERRA wasn't open in, that we experienced a lot of hardship, and we decided that we were all in. As long as it was going to take, we were going to build this business, and we were going to do it not to see if it worked, but until it worked. And that is where we started to really build our belief in the company and in the opportunity that we had to offer. And, we hit Premier, and then we got stuck at Premier for a while, and we were stuck not hitting silver. And as you'll see in the belief pyramid, the belief for silver is belief in yourself. And then gold and platinum, it goes to belief in your leaders, right? And we came home from this foreign country. We started building at home again. And I realized that I was like trying to build the way that my upline built. And I was shaming myself a lot, and I was frustrated. And good to see you, Jeff. Welcome, everyone. I realized that I was trying to be Natalie Goddard. I am not her. And so I was, if I didn't do things like her, or if I felt really uncomfortable because I was judging myself in relation to her, I was thinking that I needed to be her in order to have success. That was the belief that I was holding. And so for an entire month, I decided I was going to practice all out gratitude, like insane gratitude, that even if I messed up, even if I did really stupid things or said something dumb in a class, I was going to be so grateful for myself and just practice radical gratitude. I was reading books on gratitude. I was keeping a gratitude journal. I was praying. I was constantly sending up to heaven all of my gratitude. And that month, so much shifted for me internally. But that month we skipped, we hit silver that month. And then the next month we skipped gold and hit platinum. So just a huge shift from just deciding to step into gratitude, right? Then we had another big jump at diamond when we shifted some things in our mindset. Same thing at blue diamond, same thing at presidential diamond. Every significant, jump in our business has been because of mindset shifts that we have made in our, minds and in our hearts. So today I want to talk about mindset with you guys. And I want to teach you a model that I use to help me to self-coach myself. Because yes, it is important that we're getting coached. It is important that we keep ourselves close to the fire, that we are, on this coaching call with Andy and Tiffany, the best coaches out there, right? And that we're getting mentored by our upline, but also that on a daily basis, we are checking in with ourselves and we are doing an inventory of ourselves so that we know that our thoughts are in alignment with what we want to create in our life, right? Because you are a powerful creator. You are already creating in your life, right now without realizing it, just because of the thoughts that we're currently having. So we want to have an active role in recognizing what those thoughts are that we're having so that we can create intentionally in our life. Okay, so I'm going to pull this and I'm going to show you this model. Let's see if I can get it here. And you see my kids are writing their names on here. In everything in life that we experience, it can fit into one of these 5 categories. This is called the self-coaching model. And so anything that you could bring forward, anything that you could talk about, be excited about, complain about, emotions that you're feeling, everything can fit inside this model. And this model, the purpose of it isn't necessarily to like fix your life. It's really, the purpose of it is to create awareness of what your thoughts are creating. You're welcome, Christina. Thank you for the gratitude. You're so sweet. Creating awareness so that you know what it is that your thinking is creating in your life. When we become aware, we can start to shift things so that we can create more powerfully. So the first one that we have in this self-coaching model is we have circumstances, right? Anything that is a fact is a circumstance, and it has to be it. We want to dial it down to what is the fact here, right? I am 33 years old. That is a fact. I am standing in my office. We could, prove that I've designated this as my office. I am on this coaching call. That's a fact. We could prove that. It's being recorded, right? I have a mother. I have a father. I was born in California. Like, these are facts. So often, though, we think that the thoughts that we're thinking are facts. So we always want to check and make sure that what we're talking about is indeed a circumstance, or is it a thought that we're having about the circumstance? Because every circumstance that exists in the world will have a thought or many thoughts that we have about it, right? So I am 33 years old. That's a circumstance. It's neutral. It's not positive or negative. It just is. It just exists. I am 33 years old. I might have a thought that feels more positive or negative, right? Or that will create a feeling that's more comfortable or uncomfortable. My thought might be like, man, I'm getting old. That might be the thought. Or, oh, it feels so great to finally be 33, right? This, I'm getting to the Jesus years, whatever. I don't know. I could have a great thought about it, or I could have a discouraging thought. We get to choose what thought we're going to have about any circumstance, because the truth is thoughts are optional. So we always have the choice. We can choose the thought that we want to continue thinking. Every thought that we have will create a feeling or an emotion in our body. So when you experience an emotion, maybe you start to feel anxious. You can be assured that that came from a thought, not a circumstance in our life. When we hear the news, right? When someone says, X, Y, Z happened in this city, that's neutral, that they said those words. When I hear someone say this sentence, quote, this sentence, end quote, I will have a thought about them saying those words. But someone saying words is just a circumstance. It's technically neutral. Once I have a thought about it, then I might feel worried about the news, or I might feel excited, if they've opened up a country, after COVID, and I'm really excited. But that came from a thought like, yes, I get to travel again, right? All of our feelings drive our actions. We don't take actions or avoid actions without experiencing an emotion that either helps drive us forward or kind of disable us, okay? And then all of our actions create the results that we experience in our life, whether that's just in our life, our family, our business. All of our results come from the actions that we choose to take or not take. I hope this is really understandable for you guys. If there's any questions, please just drop them in the comments. Really soon, I'm gonna open it up to actual coaching. But first, before we do that, I wanna show you some examples of how this model plays out in in application. All right, so I had someone who wanted to create reels. They believed that reels would be a great way to grow their business, start to spread some education and some awareness around the business and essential oils. And they wanted to do reels. That's neutral. Hopefully you can see all this. Maybe I should go down a bit. So their goal, their circumstances that they want to create reels, right? The thought that they had is my life is too narrow and boring, right? This is just a thought. It's not true, right? That her life is narrow and boring. We couldn't prove that in a court of law, right? But this felt so real for her. This felt like a fact. My life is too narrow and boring. No one is going to want to see what I have to put in a reel, right? So this thought created a feeling for her complacent. You know, someone it might feel more like discouraged. Someone might feel hopeless. For this person, the feeling was complacent. And when she felt complacent, it drove the action of procrastinating, spending time researching, just watching TV, scrolling social media, viewing other people's reels and their lives, distracting herself and doing chores instead, right? And then as a result, her life stayed narrow and boring and she didn't do anything about it, right? And she didn't create any reels, you know, so our result always proves our thought accurate. And that's what allows us to build thoughts into beliefs. Our thoughts become beliefs when we proved it enough times through a model. Does that make sense? All right, let's do another one. For this one, someone had a goal to reach Founder 2.0. That was the goal, right? They set the goal. That was just a circumstance, a neutral goal. They set that goal, or a neutral circumstance, so they set that goal. I know all of us would raise our hand and be like, that's not neutral, that's exciting, that's great. Still a thought, right? This is a neutral circumstance to go for Founder 2.0. And they had 260 points towards their goal. This was a while back. And that's neutral, this amount of points. One of the reasons why we can know that it's numbers are neutral is that everyone would have a different opinion about the number, right? Some people would be like, oh my gosh, it's only 260. I still have to go so far, right? And another person might have the thought, yes, I'm already at 260. I've been doing this and I know that I'm going to get more points. You know, if I can get 260 points, I can get 1,000, right? So we can see here that different people could have different thoughts about the same number. Her thought was, it's impossible for me to get it, right? She has 260 points. Her thought is, it's impossible for me to get it. When she has this thought, she feels hopeless. When she feels hopeless, it drives the action of no action, no texting, no classes, some self-pity, judging, comparing herself to others, and spiraling in that negativity. And as a result, she doesn't get any closer to getting her goal, which proves that, yeah, indeed, it is impossible to get it, right? So this is another example of a model. We like to take a look at what the thought is, be aware of what that thought is creating, and then go back and just start to look at the question. We're not just going to immediately switch it to the opposite of it's totally sure that I'm going to hit Founder. That would be completely not believable for her. But we want to just look at it, start to question it, poke holes at it. Why is it that I believe this, right? Start to get curious. Another one is this person had a to-do list. This is a pretty simple model that I think we can all relate to. They had a to-do list. It was in the middle of the day and they got 2 things done, right? So they had literally checked off 2 things on their to-do list. It's neutral. It's not positive or negative. But they had the thought, I have so many things to do today, right? When they have this thought, I have so many things to do today, they felt overwhelmed. And when they felt overwhelmed, it drove the action of procrastinating, sitting on the couch, becoming indecisive, complaining to family, stares at the mess, climbs into her bed and naps, right? I love this model. I think it's so applicable. And as a result, she still has so many things to do, right? And how many of us have felt overwhelmed and just kind of like shut down a little bit? Whether that's going and climbing in bed and taking a nap, or just like staring around your house, being like, where do I start? Feeling a bit paralyzed. But I want you to ask yourself, like, what does overwhelm feel like in my body? Can we go there for a minute? Like, imagine a time when you felt overwhelmed. Was it like buzzing, like a rushing in your heart? Was it like rushing in your stomach, maybe a pit in your stomach, maybe tightening in your back? Just like go there for a minute. Like, what does it feel like? Sometimes when we create awareness on what these emotions even feel like, they're not that threatening. It's like, okay, I can feel that, right? I'll like go into the doctor and subject myself to stitches if I have to. Like, can I allow myself to just feel the rushing through my heart and the tightening through my back? Like, can I be safe here? Is it okay to feel overwhelmed? Why is this a problem? Right? So here's another example of how we can just be aware of the model and just start to observe it. One is observing the thought, like, why is it that I believe this so much? Where is this coming from? Why am I so committed to this thought? And then the other one is like, damn, I'm feeling a lot of overwhelm right now. And I just kind of be here for a moment and just allow myself to feel the overwhelm. Really go there, right? Grab the essential oil that's good for overwhelm, process it, and then move through it, right? So that's two ways. Another example, maybe we can run through a couple more before we, let's see. Awesome, yeah, two more. So this one, the circumstance is she has a husband, she has a child, she is a part of a community, her church, and that she has some extended family, right? This is neutral. It's neutral that she has a husband. It's neutral that she has a kid. I mean, I like to believe it. I like thinking it's positive, but those are my thoughts, right? It is technically neutral. They're just facts, right? Her thought is, I don't have any meaningful relationships. She really believed this thought. How many of you have felt like, I don't have any friends, like, or I don't have good friends, or if I could just connect better with people? Like, what kinds of thoughts are you choosing? Like, what kinds of thoughts are you having based on your relationships right now? Like, just one that I had just the other day was like, it's so hard for me to make friends when I move, right? It was just a thought, went right into my brain. I was like, oh, okay. But what thoughts are you having? What are your views on your current relationships right now? So she had the thought, I don't have any meaningful relationships. And this felt so heavy for her. When she thought about this, when she thought this thought, she would feel sad. And she said it felt deeper than sad. It felt like grief, right? When she felt sad, thinking the thought, I don't have any meaningful relationships, she shut down, she withdrew, doesn't respond to texts, cry, distracts herself with social media, distracts her daughter with technology, right? Avoids being close to her husband, wants to hide, but doesn't even like being alone because she doesn't like herself. And then as a result, she doesn't make any of her relationships meaningful. Isn't this fascinating? From having this thought, I don't have any meaningful relationships, she actually distanced herself so much from the people that she could potentially have meaningful relationships with. And she didn't make any of her relationships meaningful. And then by not taking the time, the effort, the compassion, whatever might be required to create some meaningful relationships, she proved to herself, yeah, I don't have any meaningful relationships. Because she's not currently in this space of recognizing, right? Recognizing the gratitude and recognizing the miracles. All right. We'll do one more, and then I just want to dive in. With you guys, this model has given me tons of support this year. You explained it so well. I can't wait to watch the rest of it on recording. I get to go teach about oils now. Awesome. To a sports medicine specialist. Wonderful. And then the thought, I have to work at my marriage. Yeah, it's a thought. It's a thought. Do you have to? And why? Why are you choosing the word have to? Like, just ask yourself that. Why does marriage take work? Right? And it's interesting, sometimes when I teach this model to people, they'll be like, if it's just a thought, then are you saying it's not true? You know, like I have a belief, like a core belief that I will like shout from the rooftops is true, that I am a daughter of God. I believe that's true. And it's a thought. When I think that thought, it creates a feeling of like a surety or like value or love, right? When I think I am a daughter of God. And it's technically a thought. And I believe it's also true, right? But sometimes when we have a thought, it can be seemingly innocent, but it doesn't create an emotion for us that's going to drive the action that we want. Like, I need to protect my children. This is one that I hear parents say, I need to protect my children. I would agree that's a great thing, right? Like, no one's going to argue that like it'd be a bad idea to protect your kids. You know, as parents, like we have roles, we have responsibilities. These children, they're learning a lot right now, right? But sometimes if I think like from a space of scarcity, like I need to protect my kids, I might feel threatened, right? When I feel the emotion of threatened, how do I act? I act defensive. I act like scrambled. I'm like searching for answer, like not just searching for answers, like an honest seeking. It's like there's got to be a way. There's got, just like this scrambledness. If I think the thought like I know how to protect my children, or I'm so grateful that I have a support system that helps me to protect my kids, or I've studied martial arts for 18 years, or I'm putting my kids in martial arts, or I am learning how to use technology to protect my kids. Like all of those thoughts, even like I'm learning to, is more empowering than I need to protect my kids. It's just sometimes more scary, right? True, I could say I choose to work on my marriage, or my marriage is improving every day. Totally. Find something that's believable, because only a believable thought will create an emotion that's useful, right? So if saying my marriage is improving every day doesn't feel true, then you're just going to have like a BS alarm going off, and it's not going to really work, right? And so you want to make sure that you're finding a thought that is believable, that's going to create an emotion in your body that inspires action, right? Like maybe for your marriage, it's like I love feeling connected in my marriage, or I love seeing my husband for who he is. When you're like, I love seeing him for who he is, and you feel like a twinge of like honor and a twinge of like awe of seeing who he really is, that's going to inspire an action of being around him more, or writing a note to thank him, or complimenting him, right? Like that is going to create action that creates more like working on my marriage, right? Oh, that is so me. Okay, very helpful, great examples, awesome. I'm so glad. Total shift, when I change, I have to I get to. Yeah, I get to is like anytime we say should or have to, it's not wrong necessarily, but we just want to check it and question it. Okay, do I have to? Why do I think I have to? Right? So many of us were like, we're shoulding or having to all over ourselves on like all the actions that we need to be taking in doTERRA. It's like, okay, I need to do my 2-2-2 and I need to be doing classes every week and I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to do this. Okay, maybe. Why? Do I want to? Why do I want to? Right? It's like when you say I have to, it becomes this, it creates this feeling of like annoyance or frustration or burdened. But if it's like, I bet if I do a class every single week and I can get this many people to come to my class, then this is the result that will happen. And that creates like excitement, right? Then it's a choice and it's fun and it's exciting, right? Awesome. This is so good. Thank you. 3 pages of notes already. Awesome. Loving this. I'm so glad this is. Love that. Thank you. Praise God. I logged out in today. Thank you. All right, I logged in today. Yep. Overwhelm totally happens. That is such a good, this is the last one that I want to do. So all of these emotions, we don't want to describe them necessarily as good or bad. They just come through our body. And when we judge them as bad, we will like tighten up and we will not create that space of like curiosity and compassion that's needed for healing and moving through, right? Emotions, it's information, right? We learn in the emotions class, they're information carrying molecules. They're just interacting in our body and we can let them be there. It's okay. It's okay that overwhelm happened. Okay, this last model that I want to walk you through, this circumstance, they wanted to start doTERRA. They told their mom that she wanted to start her business, right? And then her mom said words. And I wrote that specifically, mom says words, because she said something very specific, but we put that in quotes. And that's neutral, right? It's neutral what someone else says to us. My husband could say, I put on a shirt, and he could say, you look like a sailor. And that's neutral. I could take it as a compliment, or I could take it as what is the word? Like a diss, like something rude to say. Someone could be yelling at me, someone could be swearing at me. The words that they say are technically neutral. They can't make us think anything. They can't make us feel anything, right? To be offended, it's like fundamentally flawed. Like we cannot be offended unless we choose to think something that will offend us, right? So her mom says words, but she has the thought, she thinks I'm going to fail. And this thought was so heavy for her. When she had the thought, she thinks I'm going to fail, she felt discouraged. And that day I asked her, when you were feeling discouraged because you were thinking, she thinks I'm going to fail, what did you do? How did you act in that day? She said, I stopped talking. I just nodded and smiled. I played it down. I played the opportunity down. I felt frustrated and impatient with my kids after that. I was ruminating. I was doing my kids' chores for them instead of helping them, wanting to hide and be alone. I shut down. I started venting to other people. And as a result, she basically failed at her day and her family and her business, right? She didn't operate in her family the way that she normally likes to. She failed at her day, not really doing what she wanted to in her day. And she also failed in her business because she played it down and she didn't spend time like actively working on her business, right? So this just goes to show that when we think the thought, she thinks I'm going to fail, and that creates discouraged, that's what drives our actions and creates failing in our life, right? The result always goes back up and like matches the thought and proves the thought true. All right. Interesting. Oh, insult. Thank you. Yeah, I was looking for that word. This is relatable. Jeff said, good one. My I must build just became I get to build our business. Yeah, it's such a beautiful opportunity that we have. And if we get into too much of the like, I have to build this, I must build this, we want to just check in and get back into our why. It's like, why am I so excited about this? Why did I even say yes to this? You know, and sometimes I'll have builders or something that will come to me and they'll be like, I don't want this anymore. Like, this is harder than I thought it was going to be, or this is more emotional than I thought. I don't really want this anymore. And I let them go there. Like, we don't have to be afraid, right, of a builder like questioning things for a minute. Like, when you let them like feel that emotion of being like stressed or overwhelmed or frustrated or discouraged, and you really start to look at it, they find that, no, actually, I really do want this. And it just hurts to want it right now, right? It hurts to want it so much because I'm not currently doing what I can do to go after it, because I'm spending so much time in the burden and the overwhelm and the stress of it all that I'm not actually taking inspired action. And this is so interesting because like so many people think that they're spending a lot of time in their business. Like it's a full-time job, but it's actually not a full-time job. They're just thinking about it full-time, right? It's like, it takes so much mental energy to think about the people that we're talking to and the classes that we're doing. We spend so much time thinking about it that we're not actually taking action, right? We want to make sure that we're thinking thoughts that inspire action, useful action, right? We could spend all day thinking about our business and get nowhere and think wrong, think wrong that we're building our business when actually we're just ruminating and, just thinking about it. Yeah, what does the C stand for? Circumstance. Awesome. Thank you for answering, everyone. Yeah, A is for action. Thank you, Tim, for writing that out. All right, who would like to get coached? Raise your hand. If you have a question that you want me to look at, you can totally type it in. Okay, we have someone who raised their hand. Perfect. Okay, let me just.
I promoted her to panelist just barely, Seantay.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. It's nice to meet you.
You too.
I don't know who you are. I've never heard your name, but you've totally been sent to me. It's a God moment. Okay, can I just say, I'm gonna try not to cry. So I'm late to this amazing session because I just got a phone call from my son's high school, and I typically don't take those calls. He's going to be 20 in July. So he's been out, he graduated. It's been more than a year now. And, that just seeing that come across my phone screen, just all those emotions came back. And I just was like, I am not taking this call. Like, I am having an amazing day. I'm having an incredible week. I'm walking with the Holy Spirit. I'm like, Jesus, you know what I mean? I'm just like, no, I'm not doing that. And I just got such a strong word. Everything in me said, I got to take this call. It was an advisor that is new to her position, and she's noticed my son's name. He's amazing. We don't say special needs because he said that's not honoring to him. We say he's exceptionally gifted, right? He's an Eagle Scout. He serves in our churches. I mean, he's just incredible. He's met Dr. Hill. Long story short, he's my why. And he's the reason I focus primarily on doTERRA now full-time. And I think of full time, but I don't actually work it full time. So thank you for that. That was an aha moment. Am I saying your name right, Seantay?
Yes.
Thank you. So this was my question, and maybe someone else can relate to this. I took that call, and it turns out that it's a woman who is going to start a new position next year, but she thought of my son, and she was just doing the follow-up. How is he doing? Does he have a job? Does he have a license? So it's great. We're in Georgia, in a county that really has some amazing people. And no, he hasn't gotten these calls for the last 2 years. So yes, he has started slipping through cracks. And she was so encouraging to me because she said, this is not uncommon. I mean, he's incredible, but I do worry. I do pray what's going to happen Like I thought Founders Club 2.0, I have to have that. I've got to get a 2.0. That's his legacy. That will secure him, and it didn't happen because of other life things. So that's okay. But I guess my point is, it's like, what kind of, do you have a mantra? Do you do some kind of a physical tapping? Is there like, how do you prevent yourself from just getting swept back into that old mess? Because it was like opening up a very painful Pandora's box that I really thought I had processed, owned, and released and forgiven. And there it was, just all came flooding back. And then I was going to just, make a cup of coffee and sit down and feel bad about myself and my life and his life. And then I just thought, oh my gosh, this is Andy and Tiffany's morning. I got to get in there, and even if I'm late, I'm coming in. So thank you. Yeah. And now because I see that what I do and what I have done now for years has definitely affected my doTERRA leadership role. And I want that to be better, because now all of a sudden I'm finding more and more people that want what we have. Yeah. Right. And I don't want to fail them. I'm great at bringing them in, but how do I establish that process, that core, so that they don't dip away and fall away?
Hey, so it's interesting. Like, you asked multiple questions.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
No, it's perfect. It's totally perfect. This is always how we all do it. I just wanted to point it out that one concern that you have is you're worried that if a bunch comes up and there's all these emotions flooding in, that maybe you won't be able to process it well enough, and that you'll kind of like just wallow in self-pity, right? And that maybe waste time. I don't really know what the concern is about wallowing in it.
Yeah.
Just like wasting time.
No, I think it's just fear. Like, I'm not, and then I get the imposter syndrome popping in. So then I think, well, I can't do that. Like, who am I? Look at.
So maybe it's like, if I can't work through this, if I can't work through this emotion, then maybe I can't help them. Okay, totally. Yeah, interesting. So have you had practice using the Essential Emotions book?
I have not I would like to hands-on. I've done it looking at trainings, and I really would love to get more involved and work more with Natalie and Andy in that area.
Yeah. So one way that I view it is like, life gives us the most perfect opportunities to practice what we want to learn and be good at. Right. And it's like, sometimes I'll get mad at myself, like, oh, like I should know this by now, when I get like frustrated at my kids or something. And it's like, actually, no, like this is the work. Like, me being frustrated right now is the work, and this is perfect. Right. So what I like to do is, anytime I feel an intense emotion, I like to recognize it and ask myself, what emotion am I feeling? So tell me, in that moment when all the emotions were coming up, what was it? What was the emotion?
It's just pain, but the way it was treated was just not right. And I can't protect him, and I'm not going to maybe be here forever to protect him. And my business hasn't grown enough so that I did obtain that goal. And so the legacy's not there. And it's a lot of fear, like I should have done, and I didn't. I guess guilt is big, I don't know.
So each thought that we have will create an emotion, right? You mentioned pain. You felt pain when you got that call. Another one was guilt. The guilt came from, you said, I should have and I didn't. That thought creates guilt. The thought, the way I was treated just wasn't right. That's a thought that creates pain. Now, you can build a model for both of these, and you need two separate models because they're two separate thoughts, right? Okay. In every model that we build, we need to just put one thought and one emotion. But then we like to put tons of action in there to see what it's creating. So right now, I just want to focus on this, the way I was treated just wasn't right, and the pain, okay? And I want to ask you, what was the circumstance? What was the facts? How were you treated? What happened?
So interestingly, I thought this was all about DJ in high school and the teachers and the admin that was unkind to him. And the pain I felt because he wasn't treated right, but you have responded that it was all about me. And now I realize it is also about me, and it has to do with my doTERRA business and my upline. So, okay. Wasn't ready for this, Seantay.
Yeah. It's all connected.
Yeah, it is totally all connected. Yeah. What were the circumstances? Just, I chose to sign up with my children's elementary teacher, who is a beautiful person, and she was very kind to both of my children. And even though I could have aligned with other colleagues, as a chiropractor, I could have jumped right in and just probably skyrocketed with a group in Tennessee. And I chose to sign up with this person who I love, and I'm glad I'm there. There's not building the business. And I feel like, and if anybody's on this call, no offense intended, this is how I felt. I felt like I just wasn't accepted into this group, and it didn't jive. And even now, planning like this spring tour, like I'm not included. And I don't understand why, because like we all want the same thing, right? And yeah. So those.
Yeah. So tell me, and when we try to dial into the circumstance, it's very common that instead of finding the facts, we'll say more thoughts that feel like facts, right? That is, everyone does this. You said, I wasn't accepted and I was not included. Those are more thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to tell me, like you told me, like I signed up with my elementary teacher. You said that there's a spring tour. That's a fact. You said not included. That's a thought. Technically, what was the fact around not being included at the spring tour? Like, what did they say something about spring tour? Did you get a text that like what happened? What was the fact?
So the fact is, I threw my hat in because I wanted to do an event, and I'm aligning now with a few chiropractors, and I thought we can totally do a tier 3 easily. Someone local, my upline, is volunteered for a tier 4, and she was awarded the tier 4 event, which I'm excited about. It's in my hometown. It's 10 minutes from my house. So of course I reached out and I said, this is amazing. How can I help? I would love to be involved. And I was very politely told, thank you anyway. I'm working with other people. So, and then I said, what about can I have a QR code? Because I can't post in a clinic an advertisement with other people's names and other people's faces. Our patients aren't going to sign up for that. My friends aren't. I need just like a generic. It doesn't have to be my face or the other doctor's face, but it can't be someone's faces they don't know. And that's, I think, a fact, right? And I've also been in touch because Ruby reached out to me and I said, you can't schedule an event with me. We're in this, like, it's too close. It wouldn't make any sense. And I get that. That's a fact. And she said, well, reach out. I have. And the door is like, not even answering. Even as recent as last night, I said, how may I serve? Use me. I have about 20 people that have signed up, and I just reached out to 5 more again today. So we have enough for 300 people. If I would really be all in and wouldn't feel this wound, I think I could easily show up with 75 people or more. Right. But now why should I, like, if I'm going to be treated like I'm not even part of this team, how is that going to look to people who I'm bringing in to be part of this team? And it's happened. And those are facts. Oh my God, this is recorded. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So here's the thing, is there are some things that seem like facts that are still worded as thoughts.
Well, the texts were pretty clear. So all of what I just said that last time, those are facts.
So the words that they said are facts, right?
Right.
So why was it a problem? That's the thought.
Amen. So in reality, I'm excited that I can just be there and not be responsible for all the planning, because it's a tremendous amount of work. I know that I've done it before. That's a fact. And I'm grateful for that. And my mentor has worked, we've talked about this, but I guess all those facts lead me to think, well, here we go again. We're going to come to an event. I don't know. I feel like I'm saying way more than I should say, and I don't want to cause more problems.
No, we don't. That's the thing. It's like everybody is in charge of their own emotions. Like even you saying these words, it's neutral, and other people will get to have the emotions that they're going to have about their thoughts, about anything that you've said today, right? Everyone's feelings are valid and everyone's thoughts happen, and it's all safe. It's all okay, right? So those people, they said words for a reason that is theirs. And that is a neutral circumstance. It's not good or bad, but for you, it feels hard.
Yes.
Tell me just one sentence. Why does this feel hard?
Because I think together we're stronger.
Okay, stop, pause for a minute.
That's a thought. That's a feeling.
Yeah, it's a thought. So it's not wrong. It's not a wrong thought. Together we're stronger. This is like this gives a perfect example of before when I said sometimes a thought seems right, but it seems innocent and it seems good even, but it creates an emotion in us that isn't useful. When you think the thought together we're stronger, because you feel like you have evidence to the contrary right now that it's not jiving the way that you want it to, this feels threatening.
Yes.
So when you think like together we're stronger, how are you feeling right now?
Now that I look at it that way, I feel like, but they're allowed their reality as well.
Yeah.
And their thoughts.
Yeah. So like when you think together we're stronger, how do you feel? Is it like
It's not true.
well, but that's just a thought. It might be true, it might not be. We're not here to judge whether or not it's true. We're here to ask what you feel when you think the thought. Together we're stronger. Is it like entitled? Is it angry? Is it offended? Is it agitated, frustrated? Like, what is the feeling?
I can't identify. I mean, I want to serve. I am in such a great place. I've worked so hard emotionally.
Yeah.
Oils with the products, with in the word, I've grown to such a point, and then I feel like maybe I shouldn't even be involved because it opens up like answering that phone. It just opens up a painful past.
Well, this is so good. You realize like you just said, I want to serve. Okay. But then you have this other thought, together we're stronger, that's kind of getting in the way from your ability to see how you can serve in any of these circumstances. Right. So you said like, I can go and I can be there and not like be in charge or like be responsible. Could you still, are there ways in which just you being there and just you smiling at people and just you like sitting in the seats watching the experience, being like turning to your neighbor and saying something and like
serve that way,
right?
And that's typically what I do. It's like I'm
totally.
That is totally who I am.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I kind of love not being the one that has to be in charge, because for a lot of my life and a lot of my roles, I have been the one that has to. I know it's a lot of responsibility. Yeah. And I really do respect that other people have, they're working it and they don't really need me. So, and I'm kind of good with that. It feels good not to be needed.
Totally. So we just want to make sure that we clean up. Yeah. We just want to make sure we clean up our judgment of what they've done. Okay. Right now there's like a story of like, they should be including me and that we're stronger together. And yeah, maybe that could be true. But when you think they should be including you, you start to feel disconnected from them.
Yes.
Right? What if it's exactly what it's meant to be for this specific event and we don't have to question it? Right? Yeah, Sherry Price said maybe the feeling is like left out.
Yeah.
Maybe. And for some person it might be left out, and another it might be a totally different emotion, because we all have different emotions to a thought, right? Yes. So when you think about it in that way of like, maybe this event is being organized exactly the way it's meant to be for this one event,
Yeah.
it might be different in the future, you
Right.
know? Does it like loosen it for you a little bit?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Forgive has been my pocket roller, my pocket touch for the last couple of weeks. Again, forgive, just forgive. There's just so much going on in the world, and I think this is one of many pieces.
Totally.
And you ruminate on this quote unquote must be business. So of course that's the one I'm going to constantly focus on. So that was big. Thank you so much. I love it. I'm excited. 10
Thank you
days.
for raising your hand. Yep. So good to meet you. All right. All right. Anybody else like to come forward? We have some questions in the comments. Let's see. This is my same story. I'm relating. So many of us can relate to the same things. You sell 4 months for founders. Good reminder. Seantay and Matt are featured in the newest issue of the Leadership Magazine. Thank you for recognizing us. That was kind. Allison said the emotions book is amazing. It really is. It keeps shocking me. I've been using it for so many years, and it keeps surprising me how thorough and how good it is. Christina says, I'm happy to do a session with you. Okay, yeah. So if you want an essential emotions coach session, Christina said that she'd love to give you a session. So you can reach out to her. I feel you, Christine. I do. I'm sending you love. Oh, this is so beautiful. You can go through and read these. Thank you for being transparent. Let's see. I'm gonna see if there's any questions. They also could legitimately have all the work positions filled. The same thing happened to me, but the gal legit had all the spots covered. I was initially hurt, but I went joyfully with my guests and was grateful I didn't have to work the event. It gave me the chance to focus on my friend who came with me that needs assistance. Totally. This is called like giving the benefit of the doubt. Like there's likely a really good reason for what they did, right? Sometimes it's hard to give the benefit of the doubt because we can't think of what the benefit might be. Like we can't think of what like the reason is. Like we're just so consumed in our own like hurt and pain and frustration that it's hard to see the other side. So when we allow ourselves to like, yeah, I'm feeling this pain, and the only reason I'm feeling this pain right now is because I'm thinking that I'm thinking the thought I was treated, the way I was treated just wasn't right. That's why I'm feeling pain. Not because they said these words, but because I'm thinking this thought. Now, is it true? Was I really treated a way that I shouldn't have been treated? Okay, let's look at both sides. Like, why should they have done this? Sometimes when we ask the question, why should they have done this? It gives us a bigger picture into what the benefit of the doubt could be, right? Like when someone like does something really rude, like just the other day I was in my neighborhood and I waved at someone that was totally looking my direction and they didn't wave back. And then I had all these stories of like, see, like I can't make friends in a new area. And it's just natural, like the thought just comes in. And then I feel like alone, lonely, unimportant, right? The feeling comes in. And then it's like, okay, I'm feeling unimportant right now because I'm thinking the thought that she saw me wave and chose not to wave to me, or that I am thinking the thought that she didn't want to wave back, or that I'm not important, right? Those thoughts, right? And then when I look at the thought, maybe I look at the thought, she chose not to wave at me, right? When I am like, okay, is that true? It might be. I actually don't know. Like maybe she really was busy and she wasn't even looking through her eyes. She was like all in her head. She didn't notice I waved, right? So questioning your own thought can help to piece a bigger picture of what the benefit of the doubt might be. Oh, sorry you lost the chat. So many kind words and encouraging words. The name of the person who said she'd like to give you, Christina Mercado. I said that right. Said she could give you an essential emotions coach session. So is this from the certification? Yep, essential emotions course that Natalie and Robin and Amanda and Shuri do. What if meaning it's all covered, meaning they have Dr. Brannick, Riggs, and Lauren Jacobs as speakers? And maybe. All right. Looks like we have a hand raised. Let me see if I know how to pull you forward. Give me a minute. Aha. Super simple. All right, Jeff. All right. Hi, Jeff. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes. Now,
Good to see you.
oh, now I can see you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
You're doing an excellent job today.
Thank you. How are you doing? What's coming up for you?
I'm in my second year of being a doTERRA advocate, and I haven't enrolled anybody. And my goal is, was Founders 2.0. Kind of let that slide by. Not from the grace of doTERRA for allowing it extra time. So I'm trying to get to the root of my procrastination, and you gave me the opportunity today, so thank you very much.
Yeah.
By the way, the article in the doTERRA magazine was awesome.
Thank you.
You and your family.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So tell me, how often are you spending sharing oils, giving people experiences using the essential oils?
Not often enough, just once this week, and but I did go out and seek this person out. I'm targeting some sample people locally here. Not in a bad way, but since they're already in the business of sharing samples, it seems rather natural to, those who profess really well at it. That would be a good person for a doTERRA sampler. So.
Okay, so.
Anyways, I've gotten good responses, but that's it. I like the smell of that. And
yeah, what does your follow-up look like?
I try and get their contact information. I have received phone numbers to text a few times, shared video, and I usually get ghosted.
Usually goes what?
No response. Ghosting was the term I used.
Okay. So, but you said that you get good response with using the oil?
Usually in the conversation, just at those times. I don't have enough contacts. I haven't, I've gone through my warm market. That's just icebergs, from warm market to icebergs. But so I figured something's holding me back from doing more. So.
Okay. So you shared this thought, I don't have enough contacts. I know that this feels like a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It feels like it's just true. I've already talked to my warm market. They've gone iceberg. I don't have enough contacts to make this work. This is a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So circumstance is you have X amount of people. I don't know what the number is. You have X amount of people that are in your phone list that you know personally. And then you have X amount of people in your neighborhood. And you have X amount of people at, I don't know, the local community that you go to. I don't know what activities you do, right? But the gym maybe. There's X amount of people in all these places. Right? And then there's X amount of people online. There's so many people. And I know so many people is a thought, but it's one that's serving me right now, so I keep it.
All right. There is 8 billion people on the planet.
Yeah, but that doesn't feel believable to you because the billion people aren't accessible to you. Right? Right?
You're right. You're right. You know, I'm trying to build or make contacts on social media, but it seems it's made no progress yet, despite reaching for coaching help. And I've got that, but their model of finding, adding, and messaging people just isn't resonating with me.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get into a little bit more factiness.
Sure.
How many people have you shared essential oils with? We could say in like April.
Since April. 5.
Okay.
Not enough.
Not enough is still a thought.
Mm.
Like, where's the compassion? We bounce, so many of us, this is not just you, Jeff, so many of us bounce from I should be here, and then the other side of the spectrum, I'm just not enough, or I'm not doing enough. Like, if you bounce back and forth from I should be doing way more to I'm not doing enough, you're residing in a whole bunch of self-criticism. Like, you're not going to enjoy your life. Like, what's the point? There's no freaking point to doing doTERRA.
Well, the point is, it's the best job opportunity around, and I want to retire my wife so she can come home. So
Okay.
I have good motivation.
Yeah, there's some motive there. But in the process of actually doing it, there's a lot of like negative self-talk that's going to make the journey pretty miserable.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just saying that's not enough is still a thought. Why is 5 not enough?
Because it didn't produce anything.
Okay. But maybe it didn't produce something, not necessarily because 5 isn't enough. Maybe it didn't produce something for a different reason.
Or maybe the gestation period hasn't gone through. You know, people need time to think about it. More exposures.
More exposures, more experience. Yeah, more need. Totally. But when we like put such a rule on like 5 isn't enough, then you're like scrambling for like, oh, I gotta do more.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that? And it just
Mhm.
feels like it feels scarcity, it feels rushed. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
When like, what if 5 was perfect for April? What if
Then
5
that would be okay.
Yeah. So one thing that I want to invite you to believe is that if it happened, then there's no questioning it. It just is. We don't have to say it should have been, because that's just arguing with reality. It's completely moot. Right? So 5 people in April was exactly what it was supposed to be. And we're going to continue to follow up with those people. And we're going to do the best job that we can taking care of those people. And May is a new month.
Yes. So if that's what was supposed to be for last month, it could be the basis for a better month this month.
Totally. And it's like, am I improving? Am I progressing? Am I doing a little more than I did before? Am I you know, a little bit more vulnerable than I was before? Am I seeking for understanding a little bit more, you know, seeking understanding before seeking to be understood a little bit more than before? Like, it's just incremental improvements.
Solidifying my desire to make this work.
And if, like, depending on how much time you have to work on your business, you might have time to talk to more than 5 people. Right? But if it's time to sit down to work, you know, 10 a.m. of Thursday morning came around, and it's time to start reaching out to people, but an emotion comes in. Like, what emotion do you think would show up? If it's time to work tomorrow, what's going to come up when it's time to work?
All the other things I need to do.
Okay. Can you put in your schedule time to do all the other things that need to get done? Like, why do all the
No.
other things need to get done during the doTERRA time?
In reality, they don't, because
Yeah.
I get to write my schedule. I'm
Yeah.
not working outside of the house, I'm working on the house.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm thinking, and it reached to you, that there's something in there that's just blocking me, and I
Yeah.
don't know what it is. And it's going on for these 2 years, and it shouldn't be.
So what we do,
It's a great opportunity. I'm in a unique position to do it. I got positivity as a number one strength.
Mhm.
I'm outgoing, but I'm not doing it. So what's wrong with me? And that's brass tacks.
yeah, what's wrong with me? Anytime we think a question,
Mm-hmm.
we need to answer it the way that our brain is suggesting that we answer it, right? Something's
Oh,
wrong.
it'll come up with all the reasons why you're really, yeah, you suck. You're a louse. Yeah.
Yeah,
Blah, blah,
it's
blah.
like when your brain offers you what's wrong with me, it's like really your brain's like, there's something wrong with you. It's like, actually, no, there is nothing wrong with you. Even the last 2 years that you've spent in doTERRA, there's been no loss here. There's been no loss. There's a reason why you built the way that you did in the past, and that's not wrong. When we tell ourselves it's wrong, what does it do? It just creates an emotion that's going to discourage us.
Mhm.
So why not believe that it was perfectly what it needed to be then, and that there's something different in the future? And then, Jeff, you need to get really good at allowing yourself to feel uncomfortable when it's time to start your doTERRA business. That is the next step. For this new season of your life, if you're like, okay, every day from this time to this time, I'm going to be working on my business, then you need to know that when that clock strikes 9 a.m. or that clock strikes 10 a.m. or 2 p.m., whatever time it is, that you know that you're probably going to feel uncomfortable. An emotion is going to come up, like doubt. Doubt feels uncomfortable. The thought might be, you've been doing this for 2 years. You know, who do you think you are to think you can do this? How do you feel when you
How do I feel for that? Sad. It's disheartening.
yeah.
I should have been platinum by now.
No, you shouldn't have.
Yeah, should have.
I'm serious. I'm really serious. I know that probably sounds like so mean, but you shouldn't have. I wanted to be
Right,
diamond
because
in
I
a
didn't
year.
put in the work to do it. You're right.
Well, it's also just that you aren't. Just the sheer fact that you aren't a platinum yet means that you're not supposed to be one yet. That doesn't mean that that's not coming. Right?
My actions haven't supported that goal. No.
And your thoughts, your beliefs, right? Because your
Fair enough.
actions, remember, Jeff, remember, we will only act. And I know you can't see the whole thing, but we will only act based off of what our feeling allows us to do. If you're feeling sad because you're thinking a thought like, I've been doing this for 2 years, you better believe you're going to suffer and go do a different workload in your house on something else because you feel valuable there. It feels better.
Mhm.
Do you see that? As soon as you start to feel uncomfortable about doing doTERRA, you're like, oh, let's run away from this and go do something that's going to feel better. even if it's productive. It's not like you're going out and like doing drugs to feel better. Like you're doing something productive, you know?
Mhm.
So it's sneaky and it's like, well, this is also good. When it's like, no, this isn't your goal. So the next season is like, okay, when am I going to do doTERRA? I need to show up for me. I need to be willing to be uncomfortable in this space and do what I said I was going to do, even if it feels uncomfortable.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for being here to hear it. I know that it's not just you that needs to hear this today. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Seantay. That was awesome. I appreciate your help.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what we've got over here. Oh, cool. Bobby said, did you paint your room? Jeff, she's wondering if you painted your room because it's like a meta power room. So we are busy doing usually for others. Every day is a gift. Every day we can bless someone new. Keep on sharing. I needed this as well. Yeah, so many. I know that this helps so many people. I have to drop off. This was fantastic. Thank you, Dr. C and Jeff. I relate to you both on different levels. Jeff, sending you so much positive vibes. Totally, totally. We're all in this trying to figure out why we buffer, right? Anytime you've said like, I'm going to do this thing, and then you choose to do something else instead, you get to ask yourself, you get to be accountable and say, why did I not do what I said I'm going to do? Like, it's okay to change our minds sometimes and to like change our schedule or change our routine, you know, realize, oh, actually, I need to do this for my daughter. Like, it's okay to make new decisions. But if we're not doing what we said that we're going to do because we're trying to avoid an emotion, what we're doing is called buffering. And buffering is an ineffective way to live our life. You will never achieve the goals that you want to achieve if you're constantly just trying to be comfortable in your life, right? It's like we're just seeking pleasure. When like, no, life is meant to be equally wonderful and hard. And for some reason, so often we think that life just is supposed to be happy. Life's not meant to be happy all of the time. It's wonderful to be happy. And we have a lot of say in whether or not we're going to feel happy because our feelings come from our thoughts. So that's really exciting and empowering. The truth is we don't want to be happy all of the time, right? When I lose something, I like feeling sad about it. I do. When my husband goes on a trip and he's gone, I like missing him. I'm not always just happy he's gone. I like missing him. Missing him is a trigger for me that I love. I love loving, right? To be willing to experience the whole gamut of emotion means we're willing to be human. The process of this work, of being aware of the thoughts, being an active participant in choosing what we want to think and what we want to believe, and allowing ourselves to experience the emotions without running away from them and creating all of this interesting kind of nonsense action that's not useful, right? That's not living into what it means to be a human. We want to be willing to feel our emotions. Any questions? We have 10 more minutes here. Yes, I did paint our house. Jeff said, yes, I did paint our house. Years, SW colors. Before we joined, thanks to the doTERRA color thoughts, yeah. Okay, Denise said, Jeff, I struggle with similar things. A thought came to me that may help you. Life is meant to be joyful. Maybe find a joyful place for you in doTERRA and share that. My joyful place is essential emotions, and I'm stepping into sharing only that and inviting people to experience. Such good clarity, Denise. I'm starting with my friends who I'm comfortable with. Being gentle with myself has been very important. Staying out of personal judgment is huge. You've got this. God can and will guide you. That was such a beautiful share. Thank you. This was so encouraging. I'm glad I came across this today. Onward and upward. Seantay, can we take a screw of your board? I don't really know what that means. Maybe you can write it.
Screenshot. Oh, yep, screenshot.
Of this? Okay. Like, do you mean just the model? Or do you mean like this model? Did that work? Let me know if you're done. Okay. Hopefully I answered that right. Okay. Any other questions? Looks like. Yeah, you can find me on Facebook or Instagram. Either way, it's just my name. You can see my name on the Zoom. Thank you. Awesome. Somehow I missed the belief graph. Okay. If I just scroll up, do you still have access to the chat? If you scroll all the way up, you'll see that there's a link to download. There we go. Look at Sharon. She's so on top of it. Give us some tips. Okay. Great question. So what I like to do is every day in my life and in my business, both, I'm going to come across things that are challenging, right? Every day, like as I'm growing, it's like new level, new devil, things get hard in new ways. And it's like, I'm gonna have to do this video, or I'm gonna have to do this presentation, or I'm gonna have to meet with this person, and I'm nervous, or I'm scared, or I'm thinking I'm disqualified. Like we constantly go through things. I like to, in the morning, do what's called a thought download. Sharon just shared a link to download a PDF file. So it's not like a blue link. It's just like a box that has a blue button. Hopefully that helps. So I like to do what's called a thought download. And a thought download is basically where you just take everything that's up in your head and you just write it down on paper so you can get more clear on what's actually going on up there. And it's called a thought download, but I'm not sitting there being like, okay, what am I thinking right now? Because anytime I try to do that, it's hard to find what the thoughts actually are. So what I do is I'll just like complain on paper. It's like, oh my gosh, I have this thing today and I'm really scared. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. I'm not prepared. I didn't have enough time to make the PowerPoint and I think I'm just going to bomb it or whatever. Like my kids haven't been listening to me lately and our schedules have been really busy and I've been late to everything. I can't seem to do it right. I'm just like word vomiting just the problems from my head onto paper. And then when I can pull back and I look at the paper, it's like, oh, that's a thought. That's technically a thought. That's not a fact. So that's a thought. This feels like a fact, but I couldn't prove it. And everybody would think about this in a different way. So that's a thought. And I realized that like almost nothing that I've written down is a fact. And so as such is also optional. Right? And then when I realized, okay, all of like these thoughts that I'm having that are currently really overwhelming me right now, they're all optional. Like, what do I want to be thinking about my kids? Yeah, like they haven't been listening to me right now. Is that like completely true? Why is it true? Okay, is there a reason that they're not listening? Is it okay that they're not listening? Why is it not okay that they're not listening? Why is it a problem for me? Like I just start questioning it. Do you see that? And then it's like, if I'm like, oh, the reason it's a problem that my kids aren't listening is because I think they're disrespecting me. Why is it a problem that they're disrespecting me? Because I deserve to be respected. Okay, maybe, right? Is that really true? Like, why should I be respected by my kids? Because that's a good thing. Kids should respect their parents. Okay, maybe. Or maybe sometimes they're supposed to disrespect their parents so that they can learn what it feels like to do both. Like maybe it's actually really good when kids disrespect their parents sometimes because they learn the difference. Like this is what happens when we start to question, like, do I have to say the right exact thing on the call today? Or do I just need to show up and breathe and be present and do my best? Like, why do I think I need to say the right thing on the call? Because I don't want them to go through what I went through. I want them to get the model. Like, I'm just showing you an example of what my model might be like. I'm going to get on this call. I'm going to be teaching all these people this model. I better do a good job. Okay, maybe. Why do I think I need to do a good job? Because I want them to understand the model. Why do I want them to understand the model? Because if they understand the model, then maybe they won't go through the same pain that I went through. Why do I want them to not go through the same pain in doTERRA that I went through? Because then they'll grow faster. Why do I want them to grow faster? You see how just like asking deeper, 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 it's like, oh, maybe it actually is perfect for them to learn at the pace that they need to learn. Right? Hopefully that riff on your question of give us some tips was useful. All right, any other questions? Okay, thank you all of you for being here. Thank you for showing up and doing the work. I promise you that as you become more aware on a day-to-day basis of the thoughts that you're having, you will become a more active participant in creating in your life. You won't feel like such a victim of your life, and you will be in this beautiful process of creating the life and the business of your dreams. So thank you guys for being here. Bye, guys.